The reason I built the studio, I didn't really build it, it built itself. The reason I started doing the recording is because in the late 80s, early 90s, put it this way, in the 80s, you could tour, you could go on the road, and there's lots of work. Even for bar bands, you could go do a week in Prince George, week in Prince Rupert, week blah, 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 blah. Not that we were doing that at that time, but in the 80s you could do that, and it was a great foundation for bands to go on the road and learn their trade. In the early 90s and the late 80s, that dried up. The bars didn't do that anymore. They just wanted it on weekends. So you couldn't go on the road all the time. You had to go out for a couple of days and then come back. And also the touring was totally different. There was not enough money there to support us going out with a complete system. You had to pimp more, which is go out, do a few shows using production that was already there, and then come home. So it had completely changed. And consequently, I took my skills that I'd learned in the studio and thought, well, maybe I can, when it's quiet on the road, I'll come back in the studio. And it wasn't planned, but it was a smart move, because in the 90s it really did die. There wasn't very much work. But because of my affiliations with people in the business, the studio was actually quite active, and it was really good to me. The live has come back into the forefront a lot, and a lot of that is because of downloading. People realize now that artists can't make a living just selling CDs, so they're willing to pay them a little bit more to do shows. So there's more touring, there's more action, and love it or hate it, but there's also a huge circuit out there in the casinos right now, which is supporting a lot of name acts as well as junior acts. So that is nice. And I've been fortunate enough to work with a band called Chilliwack for the last 10 years, or 12 or 13, Bill, you tell me. It's fabulous because they work in the summer mainly, and the summertime the studio is fairly quiet. So it's a marriage made in heaven for me. I get to go and do my rock and roll weekends in the summertime with the boys, and in the winter I lock myself away in here.
Right. So seasonal work almost.
Well, having said that, though, this is our busiest summer we've ever had. We're booked almost every day in here. Well, I was usually here between 6 and 7, and then just get caught up on. I like to work at that time of the day for mastering. Mixing, because your ears are fresh, the phone's not ringing, you're actually able to knuckle down and get like 4 or 5 serious hours work done, and then usually just do sessions during the day, and I've never really been into doing night sessions. I find my energy is better during the day, so I would just generally come in here, do some hardcore mixing and during the mornings, and then hopefully have a session during that day, and if not, maintenance or blah blah blah. And then quite often in the evenings, one of my engineers, either Mike Rogerson or Dave Mazzeros, come in and take over and do a session in the evenings.
So it was 12 hours a day for you still, coming in that early?
During that period, 12 hours, pretty much a minimum, yeah.
12 to 15 hours?
Yeah, 12 to 15.
20 hours?
No, 12 to 15. I don't usually do. I used to do a lot more, but I don't anymore.
5 to 7 days a week back then?
Oh, yeah.
So 8 days a week.
8 days a week.
Said, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is no such thing anymore. Each day is as it happens. When I wake up, see how I feel, and go with it.
So
like yesterday was Sunday, for example, and I felt great. So I came down here with my daughter, Ronnie, at about, we got here about 9:30, and I worked till about 7. And having a break in the middle, and that was really nice. Some days I can last an hour. Right now I'm doing treatments on most Wednesdays, which basically writes that day and usually the day after off, and possibly the day after that. I just can't tell till actually the time comes. Well, as I mentioned, I knew I had something going on, and prior to that I'd quit drinking coffee. My body just told me to, and I laid myself on a fairly decent diet, I thought, and I've been to naturopaths quite a lot over the years, so I was keeping in touch with them, but they didn't twig on anything either. But no, I was basically just trying to live my life and stay busy, which is what I do. in a way, it was almost like, thank God, at least now I know that there's something wrong, because they couldn't find anything wrong before. And it was very frustrating because I was getting, and because it took so long. I believe it was 2 years that I had it before they diagnosed it. It was a very gradual thing, so I didn't really notice it that much until I realized, I can't breathe, and then looked at my throat and realized what a mess I was. That my first reaction was almost a relief, and then of course fear. I don't think I can really say this is what happened, because I'm a real believer in you're dealt what you create. The biggest thing for me was putting it in perspective so I could understand it a bit better, which takes time. I didn't just accept that, okay, I've got cancer. Either they fix it or I'm going to die. Right? That was never, I just sort of didn't accept that. It's more a matter of, okay, what are we going to do now? Where are we going to go? And there were periods where I was incredibly sad and incredibly upset. Because I'd lose my daughter. Because I didn't think about it losing myself. Right? I just thought about like losing my daughter. And there were times when you just don't worry about it. But then there was a time that came when I just was walking along, and I can remember it well. It was summertime, and walking Darla, my dog, and I just realized I'm not going anywhere. I'm not ready to go anywhere yet. And I was dwelling on the negativity of what am I going to do when I go, what's going to happen when I go, what's going to do, how I take care of all these details for when I'm gone. And I realized I was putting all of my energy into going instead of staying. So I kind of slapped myself around a little bit and just sort of dove back into work as much as possible, and I spend as much time with my family as I can, and just treat it like that. So I still don't think I'm going anywhere. It's some days it's more of a battle than other days, but I'm not ready to go anywhere yet. One of the things I was thinking when I was sitting in that office, the doctor basically said to me, look, you can't do any more chemo. Your body won't take it. You can do this, or you're dead. And it's not covered. It's going to cost you 60 grand. Right? And I can't imagine, I kind of went, okay, we'll make that work, because I knew that, well, I had, number one, it wasn't like 60 grand now. It was over a period of time, and you have to sort of make it work. I try and wake up with my daughter every day, and I try and put her to bed every day, and spend as much time with them as I can. And that's something that actually taught me that I don't need to be here at 5 a.m. I'm quite happy to be at home having breakfast with her and my wife, and then take the dogs for a walk if we have time, or go to school, or do whatever. And I'm enjoying that a lot. And I found that I've got a lot more passion for my work now. I actually love it to pieces. I'm so fortunate to have such a great bunch of people I work with, who do it for the same reasons I do, and they've been incredibly supportive of me, and understanding during this whole thing, and to be able to still work with them and get the job done is just amazing. It's just fabulous. So I just love it to pieces. I can't get enough of it.
Lots of gratitude.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an eye-opener for you, isn't it? Getting
Absolutely.
to this point and realizing how much you've contributed and how much more you can. Sounds like it's made your life richer.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So this is the golden pot at the end of the rainbow.
Well, we're hoping so.
Wow.
It's like I said before. It's like you get what you create, and this I still consider as my life is a work in progress. I don't think I'm done yet, and I don't think I think there are still surprises around the corner, which I'm looking forward to.